In the near future, the mining starship Borealis will sail through space. The entire crew is resting in cryopods because they still have 4 years to reach their destination. Suddenly, an asteroid strikes the ship, causing enough damage to sound the alarm. In a pod, Andy is shocked awake by a video of his family, who are still on Earth. The ship's AI announces a hull breach and activates the survival system. A group of robot arms begin constructing a customized suit for Andy that has a restricted oxygen supply and its own AI. Then the emergency launch is enabled, and all cryopods are expelled from the Borealis. The majority of them fly away safely, but a few are caught in the flames as tiny explosions erupt on various portions of the vessel. The robot arms complete constructing a helmet around Andy's head before the cryopods activate their engines. However, as they hit the atmosphere of the nearest planet, the gravitational pull is so great that the cryopods begin plummeting at a deadly rate. Some even catch fire and explode as they fall. Andy's pod extends its wings, but they begin to shatter, and the pod loses its thrusters. Suddenly, it collides with some elevated ground and smashes, sliding down the rough land for a few seconds until coming to a halt against a dirt pile. An unconscious Andy has a brief vision of his family before waking up, and the AI believes he is having a heart attack, but Andy deactivates the defibrillator just in time. He glances out the window and realizes he's in a desolate land. When he tries the radio, no one replies. Suddenly, the pod moves, and the AI explains that they are on unstable soil and must leave. However, when he attempts to open the pod, nothing occurs. Andy then examines his survival gear, only to realize that he does not have a flare gun due to his low rank. Kicking the door doesn't work either, so Andy uses the fire extinguisher, which eventually cracks the glass. As he attempts to exit, the pod rolls on its side, and he falls back inside. The broken glass ruins his suit and causes him to lose oxygen. Fortunately, he has a repair spray that can swiftly close the tear. At that point, the engine short-circuits and causes a tiny fire behind the seat. Andy rushes to get his son's toy and moves some soil to finally escape the pod, which is now engulfed in smoke. He turns around and observes the Borealis on fire, plummeting from the sky till it crashes into the earth, causing a massive explosion. The following shockwave hits Andy and causes him to tumble. He recovers fast and asks the AI for some information, realizing that the ship only made it halfway through the journey and that he is in uncharted area. Andy notices a light in the distance and begins to make his way there while trying to contact others via radio. After walking for a bit, he discovers half of the Borealis on fire in a pod nearby. He goes inside to get the oxygen tank and is shocked by the falling body of a fellow crew member. When he takes a closer look, he realizes that the oxygen tank is shattered. Andy then walks away without noticing the blood and slashes on top of the pod. Minutes later, Andy discovers a slew of SOS lights surrounded by a powerful wind. Dwayne has set this up, and he has already collected some equipment and is considering using the meat from the dead for food. He looked at the nav log before the collision and discovered that the firm took a detour through an asteroid belt to conserve fuel, which is why they are in an unknown location. Dwayne is attempting to utilize the equipment to transmit an SOS message to Earth, which will take 8 months to reach. If the rescuers use a fast ship, they would arrive in approximately 2 years. Andy is losing hope, but Dwayne points out that they could find a way to survive in the other half of the Borealis. When Andy takes a step back, he unplugs the machine by accident and then returns to restore it. At that point, a weird thing rushes in and takes Dwayne, disappearing without a trace. When Andy eventually looks around, he is alone. After transmitting the message to Earth, Andy takes Dwayne's rifle, and the AI informs him that his oxygen levels are low. Andy asks it to plot a route to the largest Borealis piece and begins walking while constantly checking the radio for other survivors. He eventually reaches the edge of a precipice, and the AI reveals that its system isn't working properly. He thinks about his family and screams in frustration until he hears a noise on the radio from another survivor, Naomi. The signal is poor, so Andy sprints about until he can hear her clearly. Naomi is stranded in her pod and has looked for the crew's trackers, but she, Andy, and Dwayne are the only ones who have survived. She transmits Andy her location, but the AI cautions him that the area is unstable, and Andy may not have enough air to get there. Andy is hesitant to take such a risk, but Naomi persuades him by pointing out that she has enough oxygen for both of them. For the next few hours, Andy does nothing but walk and talk with Naomi. Andy suddenly hears a strange noise and asks his AI to scan the area, but the function does not operate. When Naomi learns the model's name, she verifies that AI is intended to be phased out, and that this is yet another cost-cutting measure taken at the expense of the crew's safety. It's now dark, and Andy must exercise caution when walking because his helmet lights aren't very bright. He freezes when he thinks he sees something, but then blames it on his imagination and continues on. Seconds later, he observes boulders rolling near his feet and becomes concerned because there are additional noises, while not seeing a shadow watching him from above. At that point, he discovers weird holes in the ground and follows them until he reaches a larger hole covered in cobwebs, which leads him to conclude the little holes are paw prints. Andy panics and continues to walk as quickly as can, seeing more and more cobwebs in the vicinity. Soon, it starts snowing, and Andy discovers that the noises seem more like snarling. Something huge runs nearby, and Andy quickly hides while turning off his helmet lights. Naomi is shocked since her scanner detects a swarm of crew trackers approaching him, yet none of them are responding. Andy connects the AI to those trackers, and the signals appear around him at the same moment. Naomi claims they are right in front of him, but he cannot see anything. A flare is launched into the air, revealing a massive spider nearby. It ate the crew, therefore it has the trackers in its stomach. Because Dwayne's gun isn't working, Andy shouts and starts running, only for the spider to jump on him. He falls into a fissure in the earth, and when he looks up, he sees the thing trying to reach inside. Andy, scared, continues to escape while the spider chases him from above, periodically reaching in to slice him. Thankfully, Andy avoids all of the assaults. However, he is distracted by the creature and falls off a cliff. Rolling down at such a high speed is uncomfortable, but at least the snow softens his landing. The spider roars at him from above, but does not come down. Andy continues to stress out after such an event, and Naomi interrupts him to point out that his oxygen levels are plummeting. The fall has caused another tear in his suit, so Andy rushes to spray it. He closes it off with all of his remaining spray. At that point, Dwayne's voice appears on the radio, pleading for assistance because he is battling off a swarm of spiders. Naomi believes Andy should assist him, but Andy does not want to battle monsters, and his scanner is not even working properly. However, he changes his mind when Naomi mentions that Dwayne will have oxygen. As Andy races through the fallen pods, he notices Dwayne's flares and follows them until he finds him. Dwayne is about to reveal the monster's weakness when the spider jumps on him again, forcing Andy to hide and listen on the radio as Dwayne is slain. He flees to hide behind a separate pod, expecting to escape, only to discover a second creature nearby, also eating on victims. Naomi activates the AI voice and lights, and one of the pods and one of the spiders are distracted, allowing Andy to escape and hide inside another pod. Naomi then tries to activate a second pod to distract the other creature, but she mistakenly switches on Andy's lights, startling him with a body. Fortunately, she manages to trigger all of the other pods, and now that both spiders are distracted, Andy can finally flee. Soon, the monsters realize they've been duped and begin chasing him, only to freeze when Andy enters a misty area. Andy instructs Naomi to find a secure place once the spiders leave, but Naomi is unable to feel her legs. She's having a panic attack, so Andy sings a song he used to sing for his son to help her relax. He then continues on and comes across a swarm of fireflies, whose lights create a stunning scene. One lands on his helmet and quickly turns red, ready to attack him. It can't inflict much harm on its own, but the other fireflies quickly turn red and attack him collectively. Simply rushing away is enough to leave them behind, but a growling sound indicates that the fireflies were terrified of something else. Suddenly, the ground opens, and a monster's massive mouth emerges to seize Andy, enveloping him in a terrible liquid that keeps him frozen in place. Andy gets slowly consumed till he is completely inside the beast's jaws. Andy, remembering the AI, announces that he is suffering a heart attack. The defibrillator is engaged, and the ensuing electric shock causes the monster to spit up Andy. Andy flees into what appears to be a tree trunk as the creature becomes increasingly enraged and pursues him. Andy fell through a hole in the earth and ended up in a firefly nest. The little aliens quickly turn red and begin prodding him as he flees, only leaving him alone after he exits the tube. Afterward, the AI advises Andy that his current oxygen level will be sufficient to reach the Borealis but unlikely to reach Naomi, who also believes he should travel to the ship. Andy refuses to give up and continues jogging in her direction. He soon finds himself engulfed by flames from the crash, and he collapses due to difficulty breathing. Andy musters the resolve to walk forward and eventually discovers Naomi in her pod. She promptly opens the door to let him in, and he can breathe comfortably again. He then tries to get her leg out, but his hands are insufficiently powerful. Fortunately, because she is better rated, her emergency bag has a variety of items that Andy can use to help her get free. Naomi feels some discomfort, but her leg is not fractured. After taking a time to recover, the duo gets the flare pistol and repair spray and heads off. Naomi struggles to walk due to the discomfort, so Andy creates a splint to aid her. While Naomi examines Dwayne's rifle, a swarm of spiders gradually approaches them. The couple instantly begins jogging, with Naomi repeatedly begging her suit AI to inject her with drugs to keep her leg moving. As the spiders chase them, Naomi and Andy reach the other half of the Borealis, which appears to be in good condition. The couple continues to sprint, and Naomi slips, so Andy helps her slide down to speed up. The spiders are already preparing to jump, and the duo keeps shoving the crash debris to block the passage behind them, only to fall themselves. When a spider is poised to attack them, Naomi fires a flare, prompting the monster to flee. She shoots a second one to distract the other spiders, and they can now continue sprinting up the hill until they reach the Borealis. Naomi is having difficulties with the control panel, and the spiders are approaching, but when one is ready to enter, she eventually turns it off, and the door kills the thing. The other spiders begin beating on the door, and Naomi and Andy go to investigate. There is a lot of damage, yet the lights work, indicating that the backup generator is functional. The cargo hold contains crates of supplies and a regulated environment, so they should be able to survive until aid arrives. A trail of blood leads them down a corridor until they arrive at the main console, which is coated with guts and cobwebs. When they watch a large spider enter and proceed to drop more human pieces, including a helmet, the couple flees. Andy feels terrible and forces himself to swallow the vomit. Fortunately, the spider flees without noticing them, and the couple attempts to move, but an opening in the ceiling allows a much larger monster to emerge. Andy instantly locks the door for safety, but Naomi scolds him, saying that they are now trapped in an airlock. As the spider starts banging on the right door, Andy hits the left one with a tool, but it's ineffective. They can only give up and sit, waiting for the end. Andy shows Naomi a video of his family and tells her that they died in a car accident, and he is now dealing with survivor guilt because he was driving. Naomi scolds him again, reminding him that she is alive because of him. Naomi and Andy cuddle, thinking they are about to die, when Naomi discovers an orb full of fireflies hooked to Andy's suit. When the spider eventually breaks in, they throw the orb at it, and the fireflies quickly fight the insect, forcing it to retreat. The duo presses a button on the main panel to unlock the second door and rushes into the cargo area, only to come to a halt when they realize they're on an elevated platform. The spider successfully removes the fireflies from its body and pursues the humans, who are unable to close the door. They jump off the platform to avoid the attack, and the spider lands on the cargo bay alongside them. It rapidly recovers and pursues them again, so Andy throws his spray directly into its mouth. The monster eats it, and the spray explodes over its face, allowing the duo a chance to escape. The spider then runs over the ceiling to get closer to the humans before jumping to land just behind them. They both collapse, but Naomi gets up fast and rushes to make the monster after her, telling Andy he needs to figure out how to kill her. When Andy notices that there are still pods in the cargo area, he asks his AI to identify a working one, which is located at the top. Andy rushes to the last line of pods, reaching the top platform just as Naomi is attacked by the spider. Then Andy switches off the lights, allowing Naomi to climb into a box without being noticed. In the box, she discovers some emergency lights. When Andy attempts to evacuate the pod, the AI says that it cannot be done because he turned off the power, therefore his only choice is to do it manually from within. Andy enters the pod and attaches his AI to it, while Naomi emerges from the box, the lights around her body, prompting the spider to pursue her again. Andy bids his AI farewell while admiring his son's toy and waits for the appropriate opportunity to remove the pod. Andy recalls the vehicle crash just before the pod crashes on top of the monster, killing it. Naomi hurries to Andy's body, crying because she believes he is dead. But, after much pleading on her part, Andy wakes up absolutely alive and healthy. The couple then walks to the window and gazes at the lovely sunrise while holding hands.